Hello everyone, one more time! And today I'm glad to show you the different guitar tracks I use in my projects. Each track has different sounds, you will see right now. And first of all, of course, the two main rhythm guitars. And just for some special occasions, I have another couple of rhythm guitars with the exact same sound settings and everything, just to add a little bit more power to some parts. In this case, those rhythm guitars add more bright and definition to those chords. I already explained it in one of my last videos, you can look for it. And then I have these weird guitars. As you see, those guitars have some kind of closed sound. I will show you later the settings. And I use those tracks just for some guitars that I don't want to be too much present, just to add some background details to the mix. Something like this. As you see, those guitars are not too much in front of the mix, but they give a nice touch to some parts of the songs. And to make this, those guitar tracks has the exact same settings as the other guitars, but with this EQ. I cut a lot of low frequencies and high frequencies, and I boost a little bit the mid frequencies. This gives some kind of radio sound. This makes the guitars sound like if they were far away. So it gives a very different touch to some parts of the songs, and I really like those kind of guitars. And I almost always use two tracks of this kind of sound, so I can pan them 100% each side, most of the times, but in this case they almost sound in the center, and I automated the panning, so in each part of the song I can make them sound in the side I want. So those guitars sound like this. And well, also in this case I made an harmony, I don't remember, I think they are thirds or fifths, I don't remember. And when I want more extra guitars but with more presence, more in front of the mix, I don't use those radio guitars but the other extra rhythm guitars that I mentioned before. Those are the main rhythm guitars, those here. And those two tracks below are the extra rhythm guitars, panned 100% each side, and it's perfect for extra guitars like this. In this case I want those two guitars to be more in front of the mix, to be more audible. Listen. So in this part those guitar tracks sound really good in there, and if I put them in the radio tracks it will sound like this. As you see, they sound better in the extra guitar rhythm tracks. And then there's the solo guitar track. As you see, this guitar has some stereo delay and some extra plugin I will show you later. And very important, first of all, for this kind of stereo effects you have to create a stereo track. But I don't record the guitar in this track, I record the solos in any other guitar track in mono, so the file only takes half the size, and then I drag it into the stereo solo guitar track. And the solo guitar track has the exact same plugins and settings and EQ and everything than the other rhythm guitars, but I add the stereo delay, and I always enable this button, the sync, so it adapts to the tempo of the song and I don't have to guess the milliseconds of the delay. In this case I recorded this song at 148 BPMs, and I usually set one of the delays to 1/2 and the other to 1/4, so the stereo delays sound like this. And as you see, this plugin makes one of the delays in one side and the other in the other side. If you put this plugin in a mono track, it will sound always in the center, so make sure you put this plugin in a stereo track. and you can adjust the level of its delay with the mix. The delay that comes first, in this case the 1/4, I usually set it to 10 or 15%, and the other delay I usually set it to 8, 9, 10, it depends. So the delays will sound lower, lower and lower until they disappear. This stereo delay sounds really good for solos because it adds more stereo sensation to the solo and more space, more ambience, and I also use this plugin, the Spatial. I use it after the delay, but you can use it before, you can try if you want. It's slightly different. I have already told you about this plugin in other videos. It's freeware, and I just press the 5, and if you see that it saturates, if it peaks to the red zone, you have to lower a bit the volume, so you avoid the dirty clipping that it creates. And it's a great plugin because it creates the sensation that the audio comes from both sides at the same time. The delays still sound on each side, but the main audio in the center is more ambience, more from both sides at the same time. I don't always use this plugin for solos because it's not always a good kind of sound for every song, but for slow solos or some harmonies it sounds really good. And here you have an example of all those guitar tracks at the same time. So both rhythm guitars, both extra rhythm guitars, both radio guitars, and this solo, so 7 guitar tracks. It's not necessary to use all the guitar tracks, but in this case I wanted it to sound really apotheosic. So here we have the main rhythm guitars. Here are the extra rhythm guitars. And both rhythm guitars all together sound like this. They are making 1 octave, and altogether sounds really good. And then we have the 2 guitar tracks with some kind of radio sound. And then the solo track. And the solo track with both radio guitars sound like this. In this case the radio guitars are 100% each side, so those guitars with the solo track really fills the mix. And everything together, the apotheosis sounds like this. And well, this is the configuration of the guitar tracks I usually use in my projects. 2 rhythm guitars, 2 extra rhythm guitars, the radio guitar tracks, and the solo track. 1 or 2 solo tracks, it depends. This is no rule, I mean, you can use all the guitar tracks you want, or just 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, but well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as usual, see ya! One more time!